Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his ever-trusty sidekick.
Hello.
And today we're having a look at Malcador heavy tanks, which are the oldest tank in the Imperium. These tanks were around before the foundation of the Empire. They were this kind of a tank made on Terra at the time and produced on Terra. These are the tanks that people used. All the characters pre-heresy used it, and then when the Great Crusade came about, the Malcador heavy tank was the standard battle tank of the Imperium, probably upgraded with modern technology, but all the same. And these are the tanks that fought the heresy. They were originally mainly used by Space Marines. These are Space Marine tanks. Although Space Marines often didn't crew them, it was chapter serfs that crewed them. So the either the people who try to join the Space Marines and fail and they become chapter serfs, or early Space Marines, early training Space Marines who were used to man the tanks. Although Space Marines did man them themselves. So they were used throughout the heresy. They have been since surpassed by the Leman Russ for the Imperial Guard, and by Lands Raider, and all those sorts of vehicles up to the modern time where we're going to grav tanks and stuff like that. So they're really old, but they're still knocking around, mainly with planetary defense forces, which is one of the themes of this army. A few Imperial Guard units might have one or two knocking around, and the Adeptus Arbitus might use them because they're really old and sort of kept in a shed. And the Imperial Navy, of course, still has them left over from the heresy, they're just in storage. So 10,000-year-old ship has 10,000-year-old equipment.
Indeed.
And a 10,000-year-old computer core as well, which no one talks about. So this is a Malcador heavy tank, and I love Malcadors, they're awesome.
I'm not a fan of them.
You're not a fan, why not?
I mean, the one thing I'm a fan of is that they're easier to move because of the back bit.
Yeah, you mean it's designed to cross trenches, so this is to stop the tank sliding into a trench as it crosses trenches. That's what it's built for. A bit like past the other one. This one is a...
That's what I like.
Yeah, this is the Defender. I'm not going to do a video on this one because I've already done one. This is a Defender, which is to breach an enemy defense line and then sit on the defense line and cover it with guns while your Imperial Guard troops capture the position, or your Space Marines capture the position. That's what the Defender is, but thank you. This is the main tank that the Defender is based on. It's the same chassis. It's equipped with a variety of different types of weapon. It's up to you how you equip them. These are scratch built. The reason for that is we just had a gift of Nurgle while I was trying to build the army, and we had no ability to get hold of anything because everything was out of stock, and so I just built them for the campaign. So we had something to play in the campaign. We've been using them, and it's a stopgap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just scratch built. It's equipped with 2 autocannon on the turret. The turret is only fires 45-degree angle because it's really ancient and old. However,
so basically a dead on target.
Well, anything in front, really. It's got the battle cannon, which will demolish big things, which you like, don't you?
Yeah.
Last cannon to take out tanks, bolter on the back for defense. A lot of tanks, early tanks, which we've done about in our earlier videos when we used to do historical gaming before bad things happened and we quit. A lot of early tanks had a gun on the rear, and that wasn't to defend the back of the tank originally. It was so you would turn your turret round, and instead of using your anti-tank gun, which is on the front of the turret, you turn your turret round and use the machine gun instead. So it was a dual purpose turret. So that's an interesting point in case anyone's interested. This is very much based around the Hago, the early Type 95 Japanese tank. It looks like one as well.
It does.
Yes. So it's a very, very early tank. It's an interwar year tank. Britain made a tank that looked a little bit like this. The Defender looks exactly like a Whippet, which was a tank, a World War One era tank. In the interwar years, people didn't really know what to do with tanks, and we had some really weird designs, like the Russian tank with 5 turrets. Because the Russians thought, well, what we're going to do is we don't know what turret to put on it, so we'll put 5 on. And we'll have 2 machine gun turrets, 2 45mm anti-tank gun turrets, and a howitzer turret in the middle. And we'll just see what happens. It was a disaster. It was a complete waste of time.
Like I had them huge tanks.
Yeah.
Which are fantastic and all.
Yeah.
But isn't it going to stall?
Yeah, they used to just break down. They broke down all the time. They were too heavy. They were massively heavy things. And they had, 12 crew?
But then again, you don't really need it to move.
No, I say it's just a pillbox, really, isn't it?
It's literally a bunker. You just place the bunker in the middle of the street.
Yeah. The only tanks that were relatively useful that were land battleship types was the T-28, which was a howitzer mounted on the top and 2 machine guns mounted at the front on turrets. And the British version was very much like the T-28. I think it's the A9. Had 2 turrets on the front. They were later replaced by a fixed machine gun. But the very early war years, the tanks that fought in France and in the desert, they had turrets on the front, but they were removed and replaced because it was found that the turrets used to fill up with smoke. So you fired the gun, and then the crewman had to climb out of the turret because it smelled. But yeah, so this is really... they're old, they're supposed to be old, and they look old. So they look like a sort of Heresy era tank when you think of 40k. They look like archaic designs. Yeah, so what else? What do we want to go by? What do we want to do?
Well, I have a question, but I'll do it at the end.
The questions at the end.
Okay.
So you know the rules for the armament that it's got. It's average movement of 10. Now there is a difference for Heresy era. During the Heresy, the tanks were a lot faster. These were actually called fast tanks during the Heresy. They were very fast because they had special weapons and special equipment on board. They even had void shields. So it was defended by void shields, which is just totally awesome. However, modern tanks don't have void shields because we've lost the technology. We don't know how the technology works. So we have weapon skill of 6, ballistic skill of 4. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah.
First part, a really old tank.
Strength of 7, so not a tough tank, not tough at all. Strength of 7, toughness of 8, so not a tough tank. Weapon skill, wounds of 18, which is pretty good. And leadership of 8.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Save 3+.
So my question.
Yeah, no question.
Is there even an economy in 40k?
How do you mean?
Is there an economy?
Yes.
But it's never mentioned ever.
Well, it is. A lot of it's about, actually. What are Forge Worlds?
Just places to build stuff.
Yeah.
But money's never mentioned.
Oh, right. Well, credits exist in the 40k universe. You used to buy equipment with credits back in Rogue Trader.
So you do make... So there are civilians that make money?
Yeah, most of the Earth... most of humanity is civilians.
Right. Okay.
Believe it or not.
Okay.
Most of humanity are civilians. Most of humanity live on Forge Worlds or Garden Worlds, stuff like that.
It's basically like us right now.
Yes, with high populations, people do normal jobs, they've drain cleaners...
Accountancy, cleaning,
cleaning, yeah. A lot of it's done by servitors, who are humans, who have been lobotomized. So, yeah, there's a lot of civilians. So our economy, the Imperium has an economy. Although it's probably more like the Star Trek, actually.
Yeah.
In the way that technically people don't have money in Star Trek. Technically, it's all based around rank. And anyone can go to Replicator and get anything they want. Now, on Voyager, You've never seen Star Trek Voyager, have you?
Nope.
Well, on Voyager, it's about a Federation ship that gets stranded in the Delta Quadrant, and it has to make its way back. It takes 70 years, right? So the replicator, they have to ration replication, how much people can replicate, because they don't have the power to just make anything. And so they ration everybody. All the crew are rationed to the same ration, regardless of rank, and they gamble with cards, do card games, to win each other's ration so they can get better stuff from the replicator. So yeah, that exists. Whereas on a normal spaceship in the Federation, anyone can walk up and get anything they want out of the replicator.
Right.
However, what are most plots to Star Trek about? Do you think it's Star Trek as a whole?
Someone invading. Someone attacking.
No, that's later Star Trek.
Okay,
but that does happen. That does happen in early Star Trek.
They're just exploring.
Exploring. Why are they exploring? Because they're trying to get resources. Most of the time in the original series and Next Gen, they go to a colony because there's a problem. The colony makes something that's important to the Federation.
So they send a convoy.
Yeah, or the Klingons are threatening a world which is really important to the Federation because it produces the materials they need to make the replicators work. So there is an economy in the Federation, but everybody gets anything they want and do anything they want. But the Federation has to guarantee the supply of ores and stuff, so the Federation isn't peaceful.
Right.
The Federation goes to war, which is what you said about fighting wars. And what are the wars fought about? Resources. Nearly always it's about resources. That's why the Klingons are fighting.
Yeah.
It's all about resources. So, yeah. And that's the same with 40k. So, it's very much like that. They have... You do have individuals that amass massive amounts of wealth on individual planets. So, like, planetary governor will have all shiny things. He may be rich in material wealth. He may be rich in monetary wealth. What use is that when a Tyranid arrives?
Yeah.
There's no way of moving that wealth somewhere else. Because someone living on a garden world will have so many credit chips to have on massages or whatever. When the Tyranids arrive, he cannot transfer that commodity to a Forge world. Because a Forge world has no need for massage skills. Forge worlds need people to work really hard in horrible hot furnace rooms making Malcador tanks or whatever. Or Bane blades. Yeah. Next question?
That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, that's boring, isn't it? So yeah, this is the Malcador tank. I just loved the Malcador tank when I first saw it. I thought it's awesome, I have to get one. And then when we had absolutely nothing to do for 3 months during the gift of Nurgle that we were granted from the Far East, I decided I was just going to make a load of stuff. So I did. I was bored.
And problem solved.
Yeah, I made some Titans too because I was bored. Right, so that's it. Any questions? No questions. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you think of the tanks. It was fun making them. Yeah, that's it really. Over to you.
That's it from me.
And everything from him.
See ya.
Goodbye.